Giving Pittsburgh a better alternative. Giving Pittsburgh a better alternative. Yeah. Extra, reading the issue. Raw news, unapologetic, no tissue. Catch the wave, the flow first certain. Nothing pull you in like a Pittsburgh current. Free from influence, nothing less than. No flexing, aim for aggression. We cover news, politics, art forms, and entertainment that comes in all sources. Pittsburgh, a better alternative.
Welcome to the Pittsburgh Current Podcast. We are Pittsburgh's better alternative. That's our new theme song. I hope you enjoyed that. It's from Kid Mental. He's a great artist, beatbox artist, lyricist. You can learn out in this week's Pittsburgh Current online at pittsburghcurrent.com. You can learn how to get your own theme song from Kid Mental. He's trying to spread the love. And other great things in our summer guide issue out on the streets this week. But we are coming to you live from the beautiful downtown Beachview business district in the heart of Beachview, actually. Pittsburgh Current Podcast. We got a great guest today, Mike Wysocki, stand-up comedian, sports writer, general pundit on all things exciting in the world of sports. Mike Wysocki, welcome, pal.
I love the new theme song. I'm excited
like
about that. Yeah, Kid Mental?
Kid Mental.
That's a great name.
Lowercase K, lowercase M, Kid Mental.
All right, I'm down with that. I'm going to get him to get me a theme song when I come up on stage.
He'll do it. Yeah, he'll do it. He releases them. He'll be releasing it tomorrow. You can find the song as well as a story on Kid. I've been abbreviating calling him Kid, but I don't know if he likes that. I didn't ask him, but Kid Mental, you can read that on our website and find out how to get your own. That would be great. What do you ever have a theme song in your head? Like what genre is your theme song?
I don't know what I gotta come up with something like that, but the way that sounded, I think that could work for me. It might look odd when this very, very white guy comes up at middle age, but it might work.
Yeah, I mean, no offense, of course, but I kind of picture like something kind of Night Ranger-ish, something by Rush, you know.
That would be more in line, yeah, more in line, yeah, coming out to Tom Sawyer or something.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, Tom Sawyer. I don't really do. But we'll leave that at that. So Mike's here because starting in the very near future, Mike Wysocki's joining us as our new Pittsburgh Pirates beat writer. He's going to be covering the Pirates in person while they're home, and he'll be sharing his thoughts and comments and features with you each week, either online or in the print edition of the Pittsburgh Current. So, Mike, did you ever think that you would reach the status of regular beat writer of the Pittsburgh Pirates?
I did not, but I'm very excited about it. And it's kind of a good year to do it because, I mean, that division is tough. If you look at Milwaukee's lineup, the Cardinals lineup, and the Cubs lineup, and then you look at the Pirates, and it not even close. Right. It doesn't even compare. And we're in the middle of May, and they're still right in it. And, I mean, this is a team that, they lost... their ace pitcher is out.
Right.
Their second best pitcher is out. Their starting left fielder, their starting third baseman, their starting shortstop. A couple guys from the bullpen are gone. They got two catchers hitting 100.
Right.
And they're right in there. They're 3.5 games out of first place. And then they have guys like Young Ho Gung, who wasn't even hitting... the price of a carton of eggs.
Right.
He's like $1.36 this guy's hitting.
And he's your starter.
And he was a starter.
It's kind of like, thank God he got hurt. I mean, obviously
right.
I hope the best for Gong, but, I don't know why he was in there. Colin Moran, I think, is a pretty fair third baseman. He's got a pretty good stick, but, I don't know what's taking them so long to sort of make the move.
I know. You don't want to, obviously you don't want to see anybody injured, but that was kind of like, oh, good, he's hurt. Same thing with that Eric Gonzalez guy, the shortstop. Right. That's not so bad that he went down.
He was hitting negative 368, I think.
I think he was.
It's weird, sports fans always I don't want to hear, but we all root when Tom Brady takes the helmet to the sternum. We all root when
That's what you pay to see.
Right, when Rizzo blows his Achilles running to first base. I mean, Anthony Rizzo. So those are the kind of things that we, we all cheer those things. And we always say, oh, Lord be with him, don't let him be permanently injured or nothing like that. But we're all glad it happened.
And we'll sit and watch it in slow motion over and over again and get some kind of weird joy out of it.
Exactly. What is the... if you remember, this is out of left field. I mean, we didn't even talk about this beforehand, but this just came to mind. What is the most gruesome sports injury do you think you've ever seen? Like, not live necessarily, but like as it happened, like even on TV. Did you see the Theismann thing live?
The Theismann I didn't see live, but I saw lots of reviews of it. The Jason Kendall one was pretty brutal.
That was pretty tough.
That was one of the tougher ones. It was a hockey one. I didn't see it live, but I remember there was a guy for the Sabres that a player came in with his skates up and slit his neck.
Oh, yeah.
Clint Malerchuk.
Yes, yeah.
And it just had the whole ice full of blood. I think those are two of the worst that I've ever seen.
Like, you can say, like, I mean, it's tough when you break a leg or something, but when you have your throat slit during the course of a game, you can't really take the title from that guy. He's like Hulk Hogan in 1984 to 1988. You can't lift the belt.
No, I know. It's just
well, the one I think obviously the Pirates are obviously doing well because of Josh Bell hitting monster home runs.
Last night he tied his last season's output with his 12th home run.
Jeez.
And he's hitting like 400-foot home runs, and I hope it's all legit.
Yeah, like, wow, man, wouldn't that would be worse than when Marte got hit with PEDs. I mean, to be clear, I'm sure he's
right,
but you do think you're like, holy shit, please. And speaking of PEDs, they got Melky Cabrera.
They got Melky and Marte are on that team, and you don't know Gung's hanging out.
Yeah.
So there's not the best influences on this team. But they said, he kind of bulked up. He's taking more of a home run swing.
Yeah.
A couple players said that he's just one of those guys that's just prepared all the time. Really takes it seriously.
Yeah.
And maybe it just... And if this it's only at the quarter point, but... This might even be the best year that a first baseman's had for the Pirates since Stargell or Jason Thompson.
Yeah. What about?
I mean, LaRoche had some good years, but he padded the numbers in August and September when they were 35 games out. He would get his numbers up.
And Adam LaRoche didn't do anything close to what he did before he got here and then after he left.
Or after.
After he was incredible. He was with the Reds, I think. He was...
The Nationals.
Or the Nationals, right?
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
Everyone gets better. People are going crazy about Glass now, and Meadows are tearing it up in Tampa Bay.
Right.
Charlie Martin's got a 2.5 ERA.
Yeah.
I looked up yesterday, another interesting one. Neil Walker. You forget, he's with the Marlins.
Right.
He's a first baseman. He's hitting 295 with I'm not sure how many, maybe 8 home runs or something?
He's almost to double digits. Yeah, his home runs. I mean, it's not like you go to the Marlins and you're in a better mental situation than you were at the Pirates, maybe in the Mets. But I wonder what that is. Just how they catch that late surge.
And then you look at like what they did in the offseason, and you look at some teams like, say, the Phillies spent $330 million on Harper and $50 million on McCutchen. The Pirates spent $8 million in the offseason, but it might have been the best $8 million ever spent in baseball. They got Francisco Liriano, who when we got him, we thought, I had him a couple years ago. He's washed up. He's just been a lights-out left-handed specialist. Melky Cabrera, thought he was washed up too. He's 34. Right. He played like maybe 30, 40 games last year, and he hit like 280, and you think, that's nothing either. And then Jordan Lyles, career bum. Career, I think he might have had a 7 ERA coming into this.
Yeah.
And those are the 3 people they spent money on. And besides Josh Bell, those are their 3 best players. Josh Bell and Trevor Williams is still pretty good. Yeah,
Trevor Williams is still doing all right. A guy like Joe Musgrove, these are guys I don't remember who came in which trade, but these are a bunch of guys we got. Colin Moran, guys we got in the McCutchen and the Garrett Cole trades. How do you think those are working out for the Pirates? Do you think that they, because McCutchen's not having a bad season either? I don't think. Not last time I checked, but I haven't checked McCutchen in a week or two.
He's dipped a little. He's down into like the 230s, but being, watching him for years, he always kind of starts slow. And I think he's going to be all right. At the time, it was just like, how could you do that?
Right.
But now, in retrospect, his best years are probably behind him.
Yeah.
Kyle Crick is a very good relief pitcher, and you need those. And then we'll see with Reynolds, the other outfielder.
Yeah.
Same age as Meadows. Actually, when Meadows moved up from AA to AAA, it was Meadows that followed him and moved up. So he was kind of like the guy behind Meadows.
Right.
The other one, Garrett Cole, another one. That's the best. Like, McCutcheon's the best player they've had since Bonds in 25 years. Garrett Cole was the best pitcher they've had since probably Drabek.
Probably.
But they got Moran, they got Musgrove, and you knew Cole wasn't going to stay.
Right.
He was, a California kid. Didn't really seem like he liked it here too much. I mean, maybe you can't blame him.
Yeah.
Although he did come in right when they were good, so
he
didn't have it that bad.
Right. No, I mean, he was 2013 was that his first season, or was that his
first or second?
Yeah. Or he got called up in 20. I can't remember.
Because he pitched in the playoffs.
Yes. Yeah, he did. Oh yeah, because didn't he get a start over AJ Burnett, right?
Yes,
and that was a big
that Cardinals series.
Right. And he lost.
2013.
Right.
He lost. I know.
And we all wondered what would have happened if we'd let AJ go out there and throw one more time.
I know. It's crazy to think that they made the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Right, because here we are. It's not as bad, but attendance looks like it's 2006, 2009. I mean, attendance has not been great. Weekends are obviously better, but there are plenty of good seats available.
It looks so bad too. Yeah. Even sometimes you'll see the Lexus car right behind it, and there's nobody there, or just a guy.
Yeah, there's got to be somebody outside selling those for those are like $200 seats.
I know.
Somebody's got to be selling those for $50, and you just
And they always allow, kids, they're still in school. But, I mean, they're getting 40,000 in St. Louis. They're getting 40,000 in Boston.
Right.
And,
and attendance hasn't been that low in a long time. I mean, last year wasn't awesome for sure. But, I think we're really seeing, the intolerance to ownership and the decisions they have or haven't made in terms of bringing in talent and spending money. And they're never going to spend money. I can't imagine.
No. And they really, right now, I think they have kind of two superstars. And Velasquez, and he's as good as anybody in the league. Any closer. I think he has an ERA of 0.57 or something like that. I think he got hit the first two games and hasn't been touched since then.
Yeah. And that was a move that I always wondered, when they were dumping everybody, they gave a closer a huge deal. And you're thinking, you're not going to win any games for what do you need to close? Because you're not going to win for a while, guys, but it's fun to watch him pitch. He's
one of the top arms. You don't usually get that much pop from a lefty.
Right.
And he's got it. I mean, him and Liriano, and then that Kayla comes back.
He's supposed to be good, but he hasn't had the best start. Maybe that was the injury.
He's injured too. And then that Richard Rodriguez guy. That always reminds me of a serial killer. I don't know why.
Richard Rodriguez?
Richard Ramirez. That's who I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah. Was he I don't know which one.
I forget which killer he was. It wasn't the Green River killer. It might have been the I don't know.
What was the one? I think he was one of the Stranglers. Or one of the Zodiac Killer.
That's who he was.
He's a Zodiac Killer. And I don't know how the Zodiac Killer. I don't know his MO. You mentioned a little bit more on the Pirates. You mentioned Brian Reynolds. He came up the same time as Cole Tucker, the shortstop. When again the injury there at shortstop forced their hand to bring up Tucker. Cole Tucker he's really kind of caught on as a fan favorite. People really seem to notice him. But then you've got Reynolds, who's hitting better at least. I mean, Cole Tucker is a great defensive shortstop. But it seems like Reynolds is sort of a little bit of the second fiddle, I think, to the debut of Cole.
He's kind of taken over when you have those numbers. It's hard to keep him out of the lineup.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to bench Marte or Polanco.
Right.
And then Cabrera's hitting 350.
Right.
And that's a good problem to have. Their outfield's too good. And then they got this Lonnie Chisenhall guy, a career pretty decent hitter when he's healthy. So, I mean, realistically, they could have 6 good outfielders on that team. And then it's just a matter of everywhere else. Cole Tucker, I think people liked him right away. He's kind of got a cool name.
He's got a great look.
He was the
big,
the
strong
number
kid.
one pick.
Yeah.
But he looks like a kid still.
Yeah.
Like he looks like there was a contest held, and the chances if you're a high school player,
Right.
you get to play a couple innings with the Pirates.
Right.
And he looks
Yeah.
like that.
And you're in a platoon with Garth Brooks at first base, right? This weekend, Garth Brooks live at Heinz Field.
That's right.
Sure, there are plenty of good seats. I'm sure there aren't plenty of good
Do you
seats.
think he's going to dress in his Pirates spring training
That would be
outfit?
great.
He
That would be
should
great
do
if he
that.
came out and did like a baseball medley, or like an old musical, like something from
Sang
Mighty
cen-
Casey Strikes Out or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Willie, Mickey, and the Duke.
Yeah.
Sang center
Center field, right?
Yeah,
There's a
got
lot
some
of
good
great
ones.
baseball tunes. We're here on the Pittsburgh Current podcast with Mike Wysocki, stand-up comedian, and the new World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion. No, the new Pirate Beats writer for the Pittsburgh Current. He's going to be giving you all your Pirates news. Mike, I've known Mike quite a while now. Mike's been writing for me in another world that I lived in, and so it's good to have Mike back here writing regularly with us. I wanted to ask you before we go back into sports. Let's get off of sports a minute.
Okay.
And last night, this comedian Ahmed, he apparently made a member of his audience feel uncomfortable, and they called the police on him.
I've never heard of
Have you
this
ever had that
before.
happen? Have you ever made anyone uncomfortable to the point of phone calls to the cops?
I've had nothing more than maybe people crossing their arms and looking disappointed at me or something.
Yeah.
But this was insane, and it was just, he's an Arab comedian.
Yeah.
Arab American, and he was like, yeah, is there any other Arabs in the crowd? And there hardly ever is, so
Right.
it kind of got a laugh. And he's like, just to be safe, maybe we better lock the doors
Right.
so no more get in.
Good joke.
Good joke.
Yeah.
Funny at the time.
Yeah.
You know, funnier if you were there at the
Right.
moment.
Sure.
And some guy was like, I got to call the police. I feel uncomfortable right now. And I'm calling the police on a comedian for making a, not even really a borderline joke.
Right. No. Yeah. I mean, I guess the
It was
claim
in Naples, Florida. Florida
Oh,
won,
wow.
and then in like the ritziest section of Florida. So only bad things can happen there.
Have you ever played Florida?
No, I've been down there. I haven't played there before, but there are a lot of clubs down there.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine how the audiences are there. If
Right.
they're anything like you read in the news, even just a couple of them.
I'm sure if you think about maybe the worst experience you ever had, like in central Pennsylvania or some parts of Ohio or something like that, it's got to be that like 20 times worse on steroids, I would think, in Florida.
Oh, absolutely.
Because chances are you can't make a joke about, somebody who, might have had relations with their cousin because they're probably in the crowd.
Yes,
you
you
can't
could
make
be.
you can't make a joke about someone who might have killed their lover and thrown them in a trunk and thrown them in the ocean because they probably have somebody in the crowd. It's tough to.
And some people they're so sensitive. We had one. It was about a year ago, and it was way out in the middle of nowhere in the country. And we come up to the show. It's me and we all rode together. Me and two other comedians, and these kind of rough and tumble guys greet us at the door before we get in and let us know we don't want to hear any jokes about politics. Like, which is fine with me because I don't really do them anyway.
Right.
But then it was one of those things I wish I would have said because you knew what they were leaning towards and what they were going
Right.
to say.
Sure.
And what I should have said was, oh, man, I had 30 minutes on Hillary and Obama I was going to do, but I guess I can't do it now because you don't want any politics in it.
I guess I'll just do my overtly racist material. Well, that's fine, boy. Come on in.
You get that a lot, too. Some people will take you aside, like, after the show and tell you, like, a really racist joke. And you just look at it and weird, and it'll say, you can use that. Like, no, I can't. I wouldn't use it. I'm not going to use it. And 3 of those words I'm not going to say.
If you ever find yourself preparing a show and you're most desperate for material and you find yourself writing down a joke when somebody said you can use that, do you think that's probably the time you hang it up? Or
Yeah, that is the time. Yeah, if someone recommends it, then probably not.
what was that joke about Hitler that guy told me at the Chuckle Hut?
I know. That's one of the most common things you get is that, and the other most common one is you should come down to my job and get material. Like everyone works at Mad Magazine. Or
Right.
Everyone's just like this crazy. Everyone's laughing all the
National
time.
Lampoon, right?
Yeah, that's where I work. Come down to my job. But sometimes I just want to take them up on it.
Yeah.
Like, come here, I'm going to show up at the
Right.
restaurant with a notebook. I'm ready. I'm
Let
ready.
the magic happen.
I got some material. I'm getting some material from you guys.
What's the? I mean, obviously, as a comedian, a lot of your jokes come from observations.
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever something that you saw or witnessed or something you heard about that you never thought would be a bit or a joke, but turned out you were able to turn it into something like maybe like something so shocking at first you're like, I don't know if that, and then you end up maybe using it anyway? Or
Yeah, it's weird because if it's something on the news, it has to fit all these categories where like somebody at the end, like they can't really get hurt because then it's not funny.
Right.
But I had this one when I was on the radio. It was this local story about this woman that got beat up with her sister's prosthetic leg.
Right.
And so I made a joke on the radio about she takes the leg and says, "Why are you kicking yourself? Why are you kicking yourself?" And I did it on the radio, and then they just like looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" And then when I tried it on stage, it just like it got laughs every time, and now I still have it in my rotation because it's one of those few that like, all right, if they're not laughing at that, they'll laugh at this joke.
Right.
And if they don't laugh at this joke, then I might as well just go home.
Yeah, Mike's bosses at that time didn't have. We had the same bosses at that time. Didn't have the greatest sense of humor. The radio folks.
No, I know. I didn't. That was a weird time.
You are listening to the Pittsburgh Current Podcast, and you are here with Charlie Deitch and Mike Wysocki, and we're going to take a little break right now so you can hear a word from our sponsor, Compassionate Care Centers of America.
Anyone with pain lasting more than 3 months is considered a chronic pain patient and will easily qualify for their medical marijuana card at Compassionate Certification Centers. Visit online at cccregistered.com for answers to all your questions. Book an appointment and have your records reviewed in advance for free. Visit cccregistered.com or call 888-316-9085. Get relief from chronic pain with Compassionate Certification Centers today.
I want to thank Compassionate Care Centers of America for their sponsorship of the Pittsburgh Current Podcast. And if you want to sponsor the Pittsburgh Current Podcast, you can send an email to Bethany@pittsburghcurrent.com. We're here with Mike Wysocki, stand-up comedian and new Pirates beat writer for the Pittsburgh Current. Other Pittsburgh sports stories, probably since the last time you and I talked, there's been a lot of stuff happening in Pittsburgh sports. What do you think what's more surprising to you, that Antonio Brown left or that Le'Veon Bell left?
I think more Antonio Brown, only because you kind of saw Bell coming for a while. The Antonio thing kind of blew up at the end. They got their wish, though. They're both going to just lousy teams.
Right.
I mean, you know, if you're that good a player on a good team, that makes a huge difference.
Right.
But who's going to block for Bell in New York? Who's going to throw? I mean, Carr's okay. But the rest of the Raiders, what did they go 4-12 last year?
Yeah, right.
If you had the best wide receiver in the league, that might make you go 6-10, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
2 games.
He's worth 2 games.
But they're not going to go from 4-12 to 13-3 because they got a good wide receiver.
Right.
They have one good player in offense. Every defense is going to put 2 guys on them.
And in Bell's case, a lot of times when you see somebody go to a worse team, they're taking that big contract. They're moving for. But he got less money than the Steelers offered him, which is just baffling to me. Did you ever give like a refund, $20, $30 back to a club owner? Because
I think I don't want to make this much money. You paid me too much.
You're far too generous.
I know. I don't know what he's going to do in New York. It's I mean, the Jets are just terrible. Like they went to the one Super Bowl with Joe Namath 51 years ago.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
Like they won a couple of playoff games with Mark Sanchez in like the late 2009, 2010.
They shocked the Steelers once.
Yeah,
right.
once.
That was a win. I think that was a Steelers playoff loss.
And then they won a couple, and like Mark Gastineau was there.
Yeah.
But that's all they've had to cheer for in the last 50 years. I mean, they always draft terrible players.
Right.
And then Bell's just, I mean, he's probably going to get hurt.
Right.
I don't know what either one of them is going to do on bad teams. And then here in Pittsburgh, we're just going to be rooting against them.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers are literally, if you're Le'Veon Bell, the Steelers are not only offering you more money, they're offering you, a fleet of Mack trucks in front of you to plow the field so you can run behind. It just doesn't make sense to me what the allure. Well, the allure was they were the only ones offering anything close at that point. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
it's not like you're playing for like the Packers or some prestigious organization.
Exactly.
And he's not going home. I don't know where he's from, but I don't think he's from New York.
I don't think so.
And the same with Antonio Brown. I mean, the Raiders used to have some cachet to them, but that's way past.
And he's a guy everybody thought he was going to go to the 49ers, and then he ends up, you're going to California, pal, but not exactly where you think.
You're going to play in that crummy stadium that they've had, probably the oldest stadium in the NFL besides maybe Soldier Field.
Maybe it's
Lambeau and Soldier.
Lambeau and Soldier, yeah. Maybe it's the allure of the move to Las Vegas.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, wide receiver shelf life isn't very long unless you're just absolutely exceptional. I don't know how. Let me see. Maybe 30, 31.
Yeah. You think the Steelers can recover? Do you think that Juju can be Antonio Brown?
I don't think he is right now, but it's possible he could be one day. It's that Steelers system. I mean, the quarterback throws more than anybody else in the league. They throw a ton of passes. I think they throw 70% of the time or something crazy like that. And the Steelers, I mean, through all their faults, know how to draft wide receivers.
Yeah.
I don't know who studies the film. They should maybe study more looking at cornerbacks and linebackers, but wide receivers, they know exactly who to pick.
Right, and the thing is, with wide receivers, a lot of people weren't sure that they should pick Antonio Brown over Mike Wallace at the time, because that was kind of the choice. They couldn't keep them both, and I was one of those people that were like, "Are you kidding me? You're letting that tall drink of water leave and
for some 6'6" round draft pick from Central Michigan."
Exactly. That's not named Tom Brady.
I know.
It was very strange to me. But you're right. They always end up doing the right thing, minus, of course, the Linus Swede incident. And Martavis Bryant didn't quite work out.
He
should have.
He was a very talented receiver, and he should probably still be around
somewhere.
Yeah, he's probably somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and the whole thing too is, of course, that that gets into the whole question about whether or not marijuana should be legal in the first place. And, I don't really see how you call that performance enhancing, but
it's not at
all. It's banned,
No, it hurts you more than anything. I think for playing football.
Have you ever been able to perform high?
Not during sports, not during stand-up, because if it's an open mic, that's fine because it doesn't matter. But if I'm getting paid for something, it's like you're off by a little bit.
Right.
Like you're off by a second, and if I was in that state when I'm getting paid for a show, I just can't do it. You're just a little. It's fine for writing, but not for performing.
Good for you, Mike. See, there are some Mike Wysocki with some words of wisdom for all you potential future stand-ups out there.
Trying to get a little discipline there, and don't get drunk either. I'll have a beer, to loosen up a little bit.
Right.
But there's some people dude, you got to go on stage, and this isn't the after party.
Right.
How do people go out and get all messed up and sloshing around up there?
You've been doing this a while now. Did you learn these things by doing them early in your career, or did you always kind of? You
just kind of learn. You just kind of learn from doing that. Yeah, you don't want to really smoke. You don't have too many drinks. Just a beer is good enough. Sometimes if it's a late show, you might have two, but then after that, you just kind of cut yourself off. That helps a little bit because I'm always nervous, and that dulls the nervousness a little bit. But you don't want to get to the point where you're slurring or can't remember anything at all like that.
I've known Mike for 5 or 6 years now, and I realized I've never asked you, how did you get started in stand-up? Was that something that you always wanted to do? Was that
always wanted to do it? Yeah. I never. I had written stuff for about 4 years before I got the nerve to get up and try it.
Yeah.
And it was to try to impress a girl.
Really?
Because I kept telling her I'm going to be a stand-up comedian, and I'm writing stuff, and I'm going to be a comedian. And then after a while, I'm not a comedian, so I'm gonna have to go up and show just for that. And then that was years and years ago, and we're still together, so it all worked out. I always wanted to, but I needed that extra push. And I lived down in Virginia Beach at the time, and I remember when I first went out, I didn't want anybody else to know. I didn't tell. Like my family kind of knew I wanted, but I wasn't going to tell them, hey, get down here. But people will do that sometimes. It's like they bring that support for the first time, and then the same thing happens every time. There's just a section of laughter from the people who fought, and then it's just like a false confidence thing too. People will come in. If they'll pack the room full of people and they'll do well, and then they're like, oh, I got this, and they'll come in next week, and it's just, they just eat it. They just realize, maybe this isn't so easy without all my friends and everything.
I actually think probably you want to tackle another dream in your life, but you're afraid if you give up comedy, you'll lose the girl.
I know.
You're living a false life, Mike.
I am.
You're here with Mike Wysocki, stand-up comedian and Pittsburgh Pirates beat writer for the Pittsburgh Current. Before we get off here, Mike, you got anything coming up that people might want to check out?
June 15th. It's a Thursday night. We're having it's just like a local, best of kind of thing at the Improv in Homestead. It's be a fun night, Thursday night at 8 o'clock. And fortunately, I'm going on last. I'm headlining that show.
Really?
Yeah, so we're there's new management at the Improv that have taken over. They've redone it. If you haven't gone, get down there. It's really nice now. The sound's really good and everything. And it's kind of like they're a couple guys that are really funny, like Ray Zawodny, Colin Chamberlain, funny comedians that kind of put this together, and it's kind of showcasing some of the people for the new owners. Yeah. Because there's comedians coming in and they don't know anybody. They're new people in the scene. Right. So it's going to be some of the best comedians, and it's on a Thursday night. So come out for that.
So do you prefer to? I mean, of course, it prefers to headline, but do you like going on last as the crowd? There's that worry, right? It's a fine line.
Yeah, it is a fine line. Most shows have a basic setup of 3 people. There's the MC, the feature, and the headliner. The feature, honestly, is the best thing because you don't have to stick around at the end of the show. Right. The audience is already warmed up. The hardest by far is where you start, is the MC. Yeah. Because, you're out there, you got to tell them, we got a great show tonight. And then when you start going into your material, especially at the Improv, you tell a joke and you look up and it's just guy biting into his burger. Right. People are still eating, nobody cares. And you usually get about 15 minutes. And the first 7, 8 are just kind of, people are still coming in, sitting down. You hear them ordering their drinks while you're talking. And then, by about 8 minutes, you maybe start to get rolling, and then, time to go. And then, so the best spot for a comedian is the one in the middle. Yeah. Because you don't have the expectations of the headliner. You're going to be better than the first guy unless someone screwed up the order really badly. So, the middle is the best, but you got to eventually headline. And it's a tougher thing. I've been doing it more and more. Yeah. But I'm so used to doing 20, 30-minute sets, and then doesn't sound like much, but an extra 15 is a lot. It's like, you're running the 200 meters, and then, now do the 800. And you're conditioned to do, the 2 or the 400, and, now do 8 or 16. So it's kind of like, you want to go out on top. But if the first 2 guys go too long, basically, people's attention spans around 90 minutes. That's why movies are 90 minutes. Right. Comedy shows are around 90 minutes. Once you get over that mark, and I'm not, putting people down. I'm the same way. I start tap out around that time too. You want to keep it right at 90. So, when it gets around 85, you have to kind of keep that energy up, which is tough because it's already been a long night. They've already watched an hour and a half of stuff, but it's still fun. Even the bad nights. They suck when they're happening, but even as soon as they're done, it's still kind of funny to talk about. Man, that was horrible. Why do I do this to myself?
You got to have that. You got to have the story, right? You got to have the. I bombed so bad one night, blah blah blah. So you got to.
And you just gotta. You can't think, I'm terrible, and you can't have a good set and think, I got this. Yeah. Because it's immediately humbling. You got to find. It's you got to be confident. Yeah. Because if you're not confident, they sense that you're weak and they won't laugh and
Right.
they'll look down on you. But if you're overconfident, you're this overconfident jerk that
Right.
thinks they're funnier than everybody else. So you got to find right down the
Right.
middle. You got to be confident but not overconfident. And I've been doing it for a long time and I'm still learning.
Yeah. I saw Mike headline a show last year for us, the Pittsburgh Current, when we were just getting started, waiting on that sweet Kickstarter money. Mike and some Dave Bracey and some other guys were gracious enough to put on a show for us, and Mike headlined and killed. So you should definitely go check out Mike Wysocki on June 15th at the Improv. And also, one final note, the new John Wick movie comes out this weekend. It's like 2 hours and 23 minutes long.
Whoa.
That's going to test your 90-minute...
That is testing it, yeah, but it's
a lot
gotta
of
be
bullets.
a blockbuster though.
I
Yeah,
know.
you gotta put a lot of action in
Right.
to keep people there.
I think it's going to be the epic. It's going to be the, the piece that Keanu wants to be remembered by, I think.
Right.
Speaking of remembering, remember that this Saturday, Pittsburgh Current is sponsoring, along with Enix Brewery, our Feria Festival, at the Enix Brewery in Homestead. It is food and drink and salsa lessons and Latin music. It's going to be a great time. You can get tickets on our website at pittsburghcurrent.com. We hope to see you this Saturday at Enix Brewing. Mike Wysocki, thanks a lot for hanging out, man. Looking forward to your first piece in the Pittsburgh Current.
I can't wait for it. Get out to some Pirates games. It's the only game in town right now, and they're still hanging in there.
Right, yet they're still talking hockey over on Mark Madden's show. This has been the Pittsburgh Current Podcast. Have a great day.